This is a space of discovery. This is a space of remembrance. Join A.L. Garris and welcome to this space.
Hello, and welcome to the A.L. Garris space. I'm really grateful to be this space with you. I've mentioned it before. Let me mention it again. I'm imagining you sitting across from me and we're having a conversation. So thank you. Thank you for coming into my space. And what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to converse about today? I would love to talk about being an observer. And even when we were preparing to do this segment, this podcast space, my producer said to me, well, maybe that's not the most common word, for a lot of people. Yet it is, she mentioned, it is something that we are walking ourselves into the understanding of. So we're ready and we're available to become observers. And we'll talk about what that means. But it is important that we become available. It's very important because it's empowering to become the observer. It's very empowering. So being an observer, let's start off with a really easy illustration that probably you and many others will relate to. Okay? Have you ever found yourself thinking or talking about the way in which when a friend or a family member shares their difficulty with a decision they're trying to make, or their difficulty with a certain experience of life that they're dealing with, when they share it with you, it almost feels kind of easy to you to see the way things might be beneficial to react in this way, respond in this way, view it in this way. It's easy for you to observe them. It's easy for you to observe someone else's decision. It's easier than it is when you're trying to observe your own. When you're trying to figure out how to handle a specific situation in your life, a relationship, job, whatever it is, it seems to be for most people easier to observe and to navigate the how to, what to, the why, when it's somebody else's business, somebody else's space. So what we're going to talk about today is how to become that observer for your own life. How to become that observer for your own decisions and your own experiences. And last podcast, if you caught the last one, that's actually a great lead-in. I just saw that in my mind as I'm speaking. Because we were talking about learning how to listen to yourself and learning how to talk to yourself and come from that higher perspective that's available. Everybody has a higher perspective available. Everybody. Even the people who feel like life sucks, or that it's very, very ugly or difficult. There's still a higher perspective available. So when you're working on allowing yourself to become the observer of your own life, you're also going to be wanting to allow that higher perspective to be available, okay? Because here's the thing, you're already an observer. You're already really good at observing your own life. You're observing it 24/7. But here's the difference that I'm talking about. A lot, not you, maybe not you, okay? So no offense, please. But a lot of people are observing from inside the drama, gripped by it. Or a lot of people are observing a decision they have to make, but they're doing it from underneath a pile of fear, self-judgment, lack of self-worth, lack of self-love. So as they're trying to make a decision, they're not observing through the perspective of their optimal alignment, their best life now, the positive potential that's available, they're stuck underneath or within the slower flow of things. So the observation is happening, but it's registering in a way that is kind of gripping everything. It's slowing everything down. So it's really a benefit to allow ourselves to realize, one, we're already observing. Where are we observing from and as? Are we observing from our wholeness or our separated self? We've used the term before. Meaning, are you coming in, remembering you're more, and you're having a now, and this is a one-time through human experience that you will have many more human experiences or other experiences, soul spaces, lifetimes, and allowing yourself to step into an observer reference point. I'm going to maybe make up a word here. I'm not sure, but just laugh with me if it's a made up word. Stepping into observership. Is that a word? I don't know. Comment below if you like. A new level of observation, a new level of observership, where you're more aware of the power you're wielding, the power you're holding, the power you're using every single moment, every single breath. Whether you like it or not, your observations are playing a role in how your life is unfolding. So it would be really beneficial, would it not, to understand that power and to be able to utilize it for your greatest and highest good. I did this, okay? I'll take you back. We want to go back in time. Here's a time machine. My words. Let's go. Long, long time ago, in a galaxy. No, I just had to. I'm sorry. I just had to. Long, long time ago, galaxy far, far away. Somebody will get the joke. If you don't, it's okay. Made myself laugh. But a long, long time ago, let's go with probably 15 to 20 years, I began to realize the type of observership I was implementing, doing, being. And I realized that I was a very negative observer. I don't usually say words that are considered foul or a bad word. So I don't know that I'll start now, but I observed my life as if it was very heavy and difficult, and it was everybody else's problem, or they were the reason why my life was like it was. My life was heavy. My life was difficult. It was all because of them. And so I blamed, I put a lot of blame out there on people or circumstances. And that's why my life felt the way it felt, and I observed it the way I observed it. But what was happening in that moment is I was realizing the power of my observation. I was just learning what we're talking about here today. Some of you may have already implemented this, you know this, and some this may be brand new concept. But I was learning, 15, 20 years ago, the power of the way my observations played a role in the way my life actually unfolded. And so the more I observed from being a stressed out, emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, I hated my job, blah, blah, blah. The more I observed and came from that space, the more I kept creating experiences in my life that matched it. That I just stayed in that flow. I stayed in that cycle. I stayed in that pattern because, this is a whole nother podcast in itself, but it's the way the system is set up. We won't go all the way down this road. We can do that next time maybe, or further another space, but it's the way the system's set up. We've talked about it a little bit before. So it's all energy, it's all resonance, it's all a system of we broadcast out a specific frequency, a vibration based on the way we think, feel, speak, act. And then the system registers it. You want another word? Universe. You want another word? God. You want another word? Source. Pick one. The system registers the broadcast we send individually. And at the same time, you're the system. You're the source. Okay? But then the replication or the reflection or the life experiences or the reality shows up based on the broadcast. So 15, 20 years ago, I'm waking up to this understanding. I'm realizing through reading books, watching different individuals teach on this. Anybody want to know what I watched, what I listened to? He's no longer here in the physical, but incredibly still with us in spirit. Wayne Dyer. If you're not familiar with his work, you can find him. People put YouTube stuff up on it. He's got books that he wrote, tons of them. Wayne Dyer, he was like a spiritual father, fantastic at these topics. So I listened to him. I listened to Louise Hay, fantastic as well. Later on down the road, as I was still expanding, let's say 2015, 2017, I was listening to Joe Dispenza, also fantastic content. Go check him out. But they were all teaching this concept of the way we broadcast, as when we live and be us. You know, we have regular, I know I speak like Yoda sometimes. If you don't know who Yoda is, that's okay. When we live and we be us, we are, it's the way we talk. It's the way we react or respond. It's the choices we make. It's the body posture we hold. It's all the ways in which your body, your mind, your being are emanating energy, are broadcasting an energetic signature that then the system is registering, and then the reality is built and shows up. Now that's individualized. There's also collective reality and collective broadcast, and that plays a role as well, because you're in a human body right now, so you're in what we call the human collective. And so then that has other spaces that you may witness and experience, but you'll do it differently than another human maybe because of your perception, because of your observership. We brought it in again. But it really matters to understand the power within the observation, because you're already doing it 24/7. Why not be able to look at the way you observe, the alignment of your observations, you know, the perspective you're coming from, and see if there's any alterations you want to make or edits you'd like to do, so that you're fine-tuning your observation and perspective to be the most optimal alignment for you, that you're broadcasting out the vibration you truly want to create. So you're creating with every thought, with every feeling, with every breath. And that's not said to freak anybody out and make them be like, oh my God, I got to get a hold of my mind. It's not said to do that, okay? It's said to do the opposite, in the sense that it empowers you to just have knowledge. We talked about it before. It's like getting instructions. You know, some of the games you buy, or like items you buy, like appliances or your whatever it is, they usually always come with an instruction manual, and it tells you how to turn it on, how to turn it off, what to do if you see this thing, what do you do if that. And if you read it, not everybody does. I'm not a big instruction manual person, even though with what I do for a living, you would think I would be, right? But if you read the instructions, you have a better shot of getting the best usage out of the device possible, right? You know all the ins and outs, and you can get the best use out of the device. So this is like instructions on how you create your world. Yeah, so that you can begin to utilize your abilities at the ultimate level, you know? You're, like I said, you're doing it no matter what. So learning what level you're observing from, whether you're coming in as the victim. Why is this happening to me? Everybody always leaves me out, doesn't listen, treats me poorly, life's hard. See, these are all just observation points of reference that come from a slower flow. It's more gripped. I've had them. I know. I lived it. And taking you back in time to help you understand this is letting you see that I don't live it anymore. That's why I do what I do. The majority, biggest reason of why I do what I do, why I create YouTube videos, why I create podcasts, why I have courses, why I have a Patreon platform, why I do TikToks, why I do Instagram, all these spaces that I do is to share the information, to allow the instruction manual to be out there in some piece, some wave, some form of some kind, so somebody can pick up on it that might benefit from it and implement that understanding and shift their life. Yeah, that's why I do what I do. And I've watched people do it. I have clients from all over the world. They have all different belief structures. They come from all different backgrounds. And yet, again and again and again, the emails come in and they're saying the same thing. Thank you for sharing this with me. I implemented what you said and my life is new. I moved a mountain. I changed this space. I'm getting a better understanding of myself every single day. That's the kind of feedback I get. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep putting this out there because we're all meant to live in these higher alignments of flow. We're all meant to be abundant. We're all meant to be successful. We're all meant to be loved. We're all meant to be healthy. And so this is information that just supports that everybody has the chance to find these spaces of themselves. And remembering that perspective that you're coming in at is so key. I'm telling you, I used to come in at a perspective that was very judgmental of the space I was in and everybody around me. So that's a slower flow of energy. It's a gripping flow of energy. So then my observation was coming from that point, which was then replicating out more experiences that were slower. Because that's the message I was sending the system that I am. You say who you are. And I want to say sadly enough, most people that would say who they are, or a lot of people, if they were asked, who are you? They would look at their outer world to then say who they think they are. And that's not necessarily wrong, but there's a bigger part of you waiting for you to acknowledge and claim as who you are that is not outside you. It's inside you. You're inside you. Your eternalness is inside you. Your soul is inside you. It's eons and eons old, and it's having a now. And that space of you, that's reference point of you, is wanting to be the part that you start observing as and from. Because that part of you, when you're having a moment with somebody and you don't like that moment, maybe you're arguing about something, maybe it's a family member or someone close to you, so it's a little bit more difficult. You don't just want to, flip them off and walk away. They're a part of your life, and you're hoping to move the energies, change the energies, be okay with the energies. So you have the opportunity as that's happening to remember your wholeness, to remember your eternal soul that's having the now, and look at them and listen to them and feel into the space that's happening with them, but do it from not only your now human, but understanding that within the now human is this eternal eon and eons old you having a now. It does something to that moment where it diffuses the enormity of it. And you're no longer underneath it or within it being gripped and strangled, but you're actually now on the outside of it, just like with the neighbor or the friend or the stranger or whoever it is that asks you a question, what should I do about this? I had a fight with so-and-so. I don't know what I should say or do. And you can very easily observe their space and you can very easily give them guidance. So when you're allowing that wholeness, that eons and eons and eons old you in through your now, and you're having that moment yourself with someone else, now you're able to observe from a higher perspective. You're able to breathe, remembering it's a blip. I know that one's hard, right? That one's hard. Some of those moments can be so intense, almost in some ways traumatic, when you have a fight or an altercation or a disagreement or whatever it is, or you're trying to make a really big decision that's heavy. But just allowing, it doesn't mean you have to make it the be all end all. You're just allowing it into the equation. That's all. There can still be everything else present in the equation. You're just bringing in a little bit more room by saying, this is also a blip. It's going to one day be a memory, even if you only are looking at it from the perspective of you live 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. Well, 10, 20, 30 years from now, this is going to be a memory. In the understanding of eternalness, it's a blip. Not to shortchange it, not to demean it, but just to allow space of balance. Stop making it more than it has to be. Give yourself the ability to remember you're more than it. That's the observership that we're shooting for here. That's the remembrance of who you are as this eternal being, having a now, being able to have the now. And it doesn't mean it has to feel comfortable. I had an altercation with a person a couple of months ago, and I was very uncomfortable as it was happening. I could feel the energy surging in my body and heat moving up into my face and, all the things that the body can feel as a human being. I'm a human being, but I'm also more. And so I'm having the altercation and they're saying what they're saying, and I'm not speaking because I'm observing. And as I'm listening, I'm observing and I'm registering and processing, and I'm purposefully doing it from my higher mind and higher heart, the eons and eons old that's in me, that I am. And so as they're talking to me, I'm feeling it, but I'm not feeling as ambushed or attacked as I would if I had singled myself out as this separated me who doesn't remember their wholeness, doesn't come from that sense of understanding. And if I was separated out and I was just AO, and I didn't remember any of these spaces of me or let them in or bring in the balance. If I was just AL, I would have probably started crying, which is okay. Crying's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but I would have probably started crying. I probably would have cussed them out. I probably would have gotten super upset, and I probably would have let it drag out over days, maybe weeks, of regurgitating it to anybody who would listen. Did you know what happened to me? Did you hear what so-and-so did and said to me? Because I used to live there. I know how I would have spoken. Because I used to live in the separated self. And everything I navigated, I made it bigger than it actually was. It only has the power we give it. It only has the power we give it. People in our lives only have the power we give them. And that's a big one, I know, because there's some people in some types of relationships and situations where they feel very disempowered and very unheard. But this, if you're listening to me still, if you're right here, right now, you designed this, so this is your doorway out. This is you waking up and remembering you're more, and you're ready, You're ready to be more. You're ready to allow more. You're ready to shift perspective. You're ready to change the observation from a gripping lower space of fear, wrapped up in the drama, wrapped up in the worry, wrapped up in the anxiety. And you're ready to unwrap yourself and drop that. Drop it like an old coat. Drop it like a heavy blanket that you just don't need to wear anymore, because you're ready to remember you're more. And then you remember, and then you allow, which means you start talking and acting, carrying yourself, your posture, your responses. When you feel emotions, you start working with your emotions to be the observer, to say, wait a minute, let's make sure we're in our optimal alignment. Let's make sure we're coming at this from the best space possible. You start working with yourself. Only you can do this. No one could do this for me. 15, 20 years ago, I had so many people saying so many things. And until I was ready to make the changes, there was not going to be any changes showing up in my life. It's a reflection. It's a reflection. You know, like when you go and you stand in front of the mirror, if you have on lipstick, you're going to see the lipstick you got on, right? Because you put it on. That was your choice. Or if you fix your hair a certain way or whatever, you're going to see the reflection of what you are, because that's what you chose. That's what you're putting on. When you're observing, you're choosing the lipstick. If you're not a guy, whatever, if you're like, I'm choosing my hairstyle, I'm choosing my shirt, I'm choosing my dress, I'm choosing my shoes, whatever it is you're choosing. But your choices in everyday life are creating the reflection. Is this conveying? It's your power to choose the reflection. And so, please, 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 please hear this, okay? Pay attention. Pause in the space for one moment. Listen to me. How long have you been broadcasting a specific vibration of anxiety, worry, judgment, whatever it is? So give yourself a little space to implement a new way of being you. But I'm promising you right now, through my own self-experience and that of my clients all over the planet, my students from my courses, my patrons, once you show up in this new vibration and you implement, you be you, you live from that space, the system registers immediately and begins to reset things. Begins to reset things. Allow the process. Keep showing up for yourself. Keep making the choice. Keep redirecting the flow. Keep leaning in. Keep resetting if needed, as you are anchoring this new way of being you. As you are truly landing. I love to use that term. Like they land a plane or they land a ship, in a space movie, spacecraft. You're landing a new alignment of you. You're landing a new life. You're guiding it in with the way you be you. And we've talked about the higher mind and the higher heart before. We've talked about the essence of you and the origin point of you. And it's so empowering to understand that as you are bringing in these spaces of you, they're there. They're 100% there. But we don't give them as much focus for the majority of the time, the majority of people. We don't give the higher mind and higher heart of us as much focus as we give the outer world. So we amplify and make bigger the things we're dealing with instead of allowing some balance by remembering who we are and bringing that into the equation so that it's not all over here. It's more balanced right here. And then we can move forward with that. Now, what is we talk about this, but it's okay. The more we repeat it, the more it lands. The more we talk about it, the more it expands. The more we focus on it, the more it grows. So now if you're bringing that balance in and you're allowing the observation spaces to shift from being more judgmental and being more negative to being more neutral, maybe. We just start there. We don't got to go to happiness and rainbows. We could just go to the middle for a little bit. And instead of automatically thinking what is wrong, we could go to, I'm open to the potential that this could go the other way. This doesn't have to be that this altercation with this person, that this argument with this person, that this issue with my job, that this difficult space is necessarily bad. Could we go to neutral? Could we just leave, this sucks, this is wrong, this is bad? Because that observation is just going to make more sucked, wrong, and bad. Let's just go into the middle. And let's just go into observation. That means we're just going to look at it for a minute. We're going to allow ourselves to feel it. We may not like what we're feeling. It may feel crappy. It may feel intense. Yeah. But we're just going to feel. We're not going to get in the feelings. We're just going to allow the feelings. That's a very big part, okay? We're going to allow the feelings. We're not going to allow them to take us over. And we're not going to take over them. We're just going to allow them. They're just going to run. Okay? Just going to run. Just like when I was having that conversation with that person, I could feel the feelings, but I wasn't getting a hold of them and they weren't getting a hold of me. I was just, okay, register, observe, they're there. And we can go into neutral and we can say to ourselves, instead of this sucks, we can say, this is big. I acknowledge that. I said that to myself in my moment. I said, this is big. And I was registering, this must be really big for them too, because they're upset. So this is big for them in their way. And this is big for me in my way. But I held the observation point of, where's this taking me? Because I'm going to anchor and hold and allow and implement the belief that I'm always going where I'm supposed to go. That's a choice on my part. I implemented that 15, 20 years ago. It was one of the teachings of Wayne Dyer as well as Louise Hay. I highly recommend you consider implementing it. I'm always going in the direction that I need to go. Even when it doesn't feel like I'm going there, I'm always going there. Because if you can hold that reference point for your observation in whatever you're dealing with, I'm always going where I need to go, then automatically you're sending out the signal to the system and you're setting yourself up in the alignment of things going the way they need to go for your benefit. It can be that that space was exactly what you needed to assist you in moving forward. And that person or that experience or that job was exactly what you needed to help you remember how to implement this power space of you, this power point. I'm going exactly where I need to go. Things are unfolding exactly the way they need to unfold. Now there's a faith level and a trust level that starts to get built by you if you implement that particular belief, any belief. A faith level gets built with any belief. Even if you have the belief that you're not enough, you build faith in that. The more you believe it, the more you say it, the more you live as it, act as it, you're building your faith. So be mindful of what you're building your faith in and be available to yourself and your life to come from these optimal alignments of your faith, that everything is always going the way it needs to go for your best now, that everything is always unfolding, everything, That's a big one, but I'm telling you, it's a PowerPoint. I've been living this way 15, 20 years now. And when I first started this, I mean, I could go through the list. I'll just bullet point it for you really quickly. So these are my credentials. Would you like my credentials of why I can have this conversation with you? I was in severe debt. I owed, like the Bible says, owe no man. I owed every man. I mean, like, I owed so much money. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, a lot of debt. I used to get a loan to pay a loan to pay a loan. I would, do best I could to like, oh, my credit card's giving me an offer. I get a really low percentage rate, right? For a certain amount of months. Maybe it's like a 2% for like 9 months. So I would get that and I would move everything over there that I could so I could save a little bit, right? Try to get my head above water. And then when the 9-month period was going to be up, I'd have to find something else to move them to because I couldn't pay them off. Couldn't pay them off. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. My health. I didn't know what anxiety, I heard the word, but then I didn't know what an anxiety attack was until I had one and I thought I was dying, like I really did. And I went to an emergency room and they hooked me up to a bunch of machines and they're like, oh, you had a panic attack. I'm like, a what attack? I thought they were going to tell me I had a heart attack. My father died when I was 23 years old. He had severe heart attacks. Like, I thought they were going to tell me I was having a heart attack. And they said, you're having a panic attack. It's in your head. Huh. That took a little bit. But it was a good doctor. It was a good doctor. They said to me, I can give you a pill. It would be like if you sat on a tack and I gave you a shot to numb the area. You wouldn't know the tack was there. So I can give you a pill and you won't know the anxiety's there. But if you can find the tack and pull it out, you don't have to take the shot. You can be well. It was a good doctor. So I went on the exploration of finding the tack. And that's how I learned all of this. My relationships, I'm married forever, 36, 37 years now, I don't know. Happily married. Met my husband when I was 16. Got married when I was 18. I have 2 kids. But my relationships 15, 20 years ago, they were good relationships, like what most people would want and be very happy to have. But what they are now, it's next level. It's new human, new earth relationships. I have incredible relationship with my husband, my children. My health is awesome. I owe no man. No man. No bank. No man. But I did this because I know how the system works. I found the instruction manual, and I don't like to read instructions, but I read this one, and I implemented, and I retrained myself. You got to train you. You are it. I will help you. There are others on the planet that are here to help as well, but we are not here to feed you fish. We are here to teach you how to fish for yourself. That way you will never go hungry. So, you have the instructions. It could be day 1. It could be a new level of you. You've been implementing, you've been learning, you are the observer, you understand. This could be brand new. This could be second nature. It doesn't matter. We're always, always, always ready to expand further. That's the process of consciousness and evolution of consciousness and the expansion of the soul. You're eternal. I'm eternal and we're having a now. We would get so bored. Eternal. Think of the word for one moment. Eternal. We would get so bored if we weren't ever expanding. Embrace the ever expanding you. Allow the ever expanding you. Engage it. Observe it. Allow that observation to be placed even on yourself, not just situations that call for your higher mind and higher heart. But allow that observation to come in and just register the coolness of being you. Having a now. Observe that, and that space gets to grow. Whatever we're observing, we're amplifying. It's all in your hands. All right, I'm going to leave this here. So, comment below, share some info, let us know what you think. I think there's even a form or a way that you can share with us in the description below. Some topic, question, something like that. Love to talk about it. You're sitting right in front of me. You might as well contribute. So let us know. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Sending a huge wave of love to you. I've enjoyed our time together. Thank you for being this space. Thank you for being this space.